What is going on, everybody? Right now we're going to do a super quick comparison between the iPhone XS and the iPhone 8, and we're going to look from a bird's eye view. If you have an iPhone 8, if you should go and update to an iPhone XS. And because the iPhone XS hasn't been released yet, I don't have any footage of it. But from the keynote and from the specs, I kind of have an idea of whether you should update or not. And now really the main difference is obviously the body. The iPhone XS has the main iPhone X body. It's kind of the same way. Really, there wasn't too much change, except the main difference really is the iPhone XS does have dual SIM support. So if that does interest you, that is something that the iPhone XS has that the iPhone 8 does not have. Another really cool thing is that really the main difference between the iPhone XS and iPhone 10 and even the iPhone 8 is that the new iPhone does have IP68 dust and water resistant, which is better than the IP67 rating on the iPhone 8. So the iPhone 8 was only water resistant up to 1 meter for 30 minutes, but now the iPhone XS is IP68, so it's up to 2 meters for 30 minutes. So technically if you throw your phone in a pool, realistically the iPhone XS will be able to handle it better and will have less likely damage or water damage to it than the iPhone 8. So that is definitely something really important to keep in mind. And that is more so of an internal change really. On the exterior, you're comparing a 4.7-inch IPS panel to a 5.8-inch AMOLED panel, and I'm telling you right now, Apple did say it's Super AMOLED, but really I don't think it's going to be that crazy of an upgrade from an iPhone 10. But really the iPhone XS is going to have a much better panel than an iPhone 8. But do keep in mind, you're still keeping Force Touch, you're still keeping the True Tone display. So if you're fine with the screen, then I guess it's not that big of a deal, but just keep in mind the OLED panel does immerse you a little bit better. Now realistically, specs wise, the iPhone 8 has the Apple A11 Bionic chip, which is the same as the iPhone 10, but the iPhone XS has the Apple A12 Bionic chip. A little bit of difference there. People are claiming that it's about 15% faster than an iPhone 10, and the iPhone 10 I believe is just a little bit faster than the iPhone 8 because it does have an extra gigabyte of RAM, but whereas the iPhone XS has 4 gigabytes of RAM, so technically it has twice the amount of RAM, and that is really a huge advantage for the iPhone XS. It has 4 gigabytes of RAM versus the 2 on the iPhone 8. So technically speaking, you'll be able to keep more apps in the background, be able to have heavier intensive apps and kind of multitask between them and be able to run higher intensive apps too. But in terms of the A12 Bionic chip, I don't think that in and of itself is going to be a reason for you to upgrade, but maybe the 4 gigabytes of RAM might be. Another cool, amazing thing is that the iPhone XS does come in an extra variant, so it does come in 512 gigabytes versus the max size on the iPhone 8, which is 256 gigabytes. So that is something you need to keep in mind. But really, I would say that 512 is kind of overkill, but if that is something you like, just know the iPhone XS does have the advantage there. Now, in the cameras, this is something, we're going to have to take Apple's word here. The iPhone 8 only has one single camera on the back. The iPhone XS has 2. So does the iPhone 10, iPhone 8 Plus, and iPhone 7 Plus. So if you're in the market for a better camera, of course the iPhone XS is going to be better. It has a smart HDR. It has portrait mode, portrait lighting. But in terms of the video recording capabilities, it can actually shoot the same amount of video resolutions. So it can do 4K at 60 frames per second and 1080p at up to 240 frames per second. So if you're in the market of video, that might be not really a huge upgrade, but in terms of the raw photos, the features of it, portrait mode, portrait lighting, those things are going to be an advantage on the iPhone XS. Another cool advantage for the iPhone XS is that the front camera can shoot 1080p at 60 frames per second. And for me personally, this isn't a huge upgrade. I'm more of a person that'll pretty much keep it at 30 frames because it not only does it save memory, but it's easier to edit and export. If you're a vlogger or something, this will definitely be a huge advantage for you. But if you're like an average person like I am, I don't think it's going to be that crazy of an upgrade, but it's definitely an advantage. Now, in terms of battery life, I will definitely give the edge to the iPhone XS. On paper, it is supposed to be able to last longer than the iPhone 10. I will say that the battery size probably has decreased, so it's probably about a 2600 mAh battery, but on the iPhone 8, it has an 1821 mAh battery, so quite a bit of difference there. You are going to get better battery life on the iPhone XS, so if that is something you'd like, then you can definitely go there and take that route. So from a bird's eye view, I will definitely tell you that the upgrade from an iPhone 8 to an iPhone XS will be a noticeable one. You will not only have a better screen, a better front camera, a better back camera, up to 512 gigabytes and an extra 2 gigabytes of RAM and extra battery life, but you'll also be able to use this phone for an extra year because of iOS support, so it'll technically last you 1 more year longer than an iPhone 8 will. So if you have the money, definitely get it. I don't think it's going to be a horrible upgrade at all. It's a wonderful phone. But what I will say is that the used iPhone 10 market, there's going to be tons of used iPhone 10s going for sale, and you could probably find one around 600, maybe if you're lucky around 550. So I'd probably recommend you to look that route too, because the upgrade from an iPhone 8 to an iPhone 10 is a humongous upgrade as well. So I will have more of my thoughts on this specific phone once they release and fully release and all that stuff. But so I'm getting them next Friday, and I'm going to compare them to all other iPhones. So like I said, this is a bird's eye view. Full comparisons are coming very soon, but I'm pretty sure my opinion is not going to change too much. If you guys have any questions or you have anything to add, leave it down in the comment section below. Hit that like button, but definitely hit that subscribe button, guys. Every single subscriber we get really does count, so it means so much if you guys could go and hit that. Also, check out the links in the description. My second channel, flawlessphone.com, the greatest website in the world. My Twitter, my Instagram, all that stuff is down there. I would really appreciate if you guys could click those links as well. But more importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.